Have you ever felt that you have a special mission in life? A role that God has chosen you to fulfill, bringing about a great change in this world? It's a feeling that stirs deep within us, a sense that we are meant for something greater than ourselves. Perhaps you've had moments when you sense that your life has a divine purpose, one that can lead to transformation, not just for you, but for the world around you. We all have those moments of introspection where we wonder, is there more to my life than what I see in front of me? Am I truly living out the purpose I was meant for? It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day struggles and lose sight of the bigger picture. But deep down, each of us may feel that we were chosen for something significant, a mission that, if fulfilled, could bring profound change, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of others. This topic is about God's selection, the understanding that each person has a higher calling to fulfill. It's about recognizing that there is a divine purpose behind everything we experience. While we may not always see the path clearly, or know exactly how we are meant to serve, we are all chosen to take great steps toward transformation. God has a plan for you, a purpose that, when realized, can have a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond what we can immediately comprehend. Some may wonder, how do I know that I am chosen? The truth is, it's not always about an audible voice or a sign from the heavens. Instead, it's about that inner knowing, that deep calling within your heart that pushes you forward, even when the road seems uncertain. Whether through difficult circumstances or moments of profound insight, God's guidance is present, leading us towards something greater. Each person is called to be an instrument of change, whether through small acts of kindness or by leading movements of social transformation. Your divine mission is uniquely yours. The goal of this video or article is to inspire confidence and belief in your personal mission. When you realize that you are the one chosen by God for something great, you begin to see your challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. This awareness empowers you to take action, no matter the hurdles ahead. By recognizing that you have a divine purpose, you can step forward with boldness, knowing that God has already prepared the way for you. The path may not always be clear, and the journey may not be easy, but with faith and trust in God's plan, you can make the change you were born to create. The mission He has for you is bigger than you might imagine, and through prayer, faith, and action, you can fulfill your purpose, transforming your life and the lives of those around you. This journey begins with understanding. You were chosen, and you are equipped for the purpose you are called to fulfill. One of the most profound concepts in many religious and spiritual beliefs is the idea that God chooses certain individuals to fulfill a higher purpose. But who does God choose, and what is the reason behind His selection? The answer to this question reveals that God's choices are not always based on the outward qualifications or perfection that we might expect. Instead, God's selection often rests on qualities that go beyond ability or status: an open heart, faith, and a willingness to serve. In various religious traditions, we see that God does not choose only those who are perfect or free of flaws. In fact, God often chooses the most unlikely candidates, those who may feel unworthy or inadequate by human standards. This is reflected in the many stories from the Bible, the Quran, and other spiritual texts, where people who were initially considered imperfect or unqualified went on to play pivotal roles in God's plan for humanity. For instance, consider the story of Moses, who was reluctant to accept his role as a leader because he felt inadequate. He had a speech impediment and lacked confidence in his ability to carry out such an enormous task. But God chose him because of his faith and willingness to follow God's direction, not because he was perfect. Moses became an instrument of change, leading the Israelites out of Egypt and helping to shape the course of history. Similarly, David, the youngest and seemingly weakest of his brothers, was chosen to be king of Israel. God did not look at David's stature or strength. He looked at David's heart, his love, and faith in God. Despite being a shepherd boy with little worldly power, David was anointed to defeat the mighty Goliath and eventually became one of Israel's greatest kings. In these examples, we see that God's choice is not based on perfection or worldly qualifications, but on the individual's heart and commitment to fulfilling a higher purpose. Those whom God chooses are not necessarily the most outwardly powerful, but they possess the inner strength to trust in God's guidance and execute the mission He has prepared for them. It's not about human ability, but divine empowerment. This teaches us a valuable lesson. God does not need us to be perfect to fulfill His purposes. He chooses those who are willing to open their hearts and serve His higher plan, trusting in His guidance, and trusting that He will provide the strength and wisdom needed along the way. When we embrace this truth, we realize that we too are chosen by God, not because of our perfection, but because of our willingness to be instruments of change in the world. The idea that each person has a role to play in God's greater plan is central to understanding our place in the world. Everyone, regardless of their circumstances, has the potential to be an instrument of change. God has a mission for each of us, and while the form it takes may differ from person to person, the opportunity to participate in creating significant transformation is available to everyone. Our role in creating great change can begin with small actions in our everyday lives. It's easy to think that in order to make a real difference, we must do something grand or extraordinary. However, the truth is that every action, no matter how small, can create a ripple effect that leads to great transformation. A simple act of kindness, a word of encouragement, or a decision to stand up for what's right can inspire others to do the same, sparking a chain reaction of positive change. For example, when we help someone in need, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger, we are participating in God's plan by showing compassion and love. Even when we don't see the immediate impact of our actions, God works through these moments to bring about change in the world. Each of us can make an impact in our own communities by living out our values, embracing our purpose, and acting with integrity. On a larger scale, some people are called to be leaders of social movements or to tackle global issues. Individuals like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mother Teresa were chosen to fulfill roles that led to enormous changes in society. These leaders took their individual mission rooted in their faith and commitment to a greater cause and turned it into a movement that changed history. What these individuals have in common is that they saw themselves not as separate from the world, but as part of a larger mission. They understood that their lives were not meant to be lived for personal gain, but for the purpose of serving others and creating a better world. They followed their divine calling, trusting that God was working through them to bring about significant change, and through their courage, determination, and faith, they became instruments of profound transformation. We must recognize that our role is not limited to just doing big things. It is also about living out our calling in everyday life. Whether in small acts of kindness, leadership, or service, we are all called to be instruments of change. The key is to embrace our divine mission, step forward with courage, and trust that God is working through us. Throughout history, there have been countless examples of people who were chosen by God to bring about great change. These individuals came from diverse backgrounds, yet they shared one thing in common: they were willing to listen to God's call and take action, no matter the cost. Moses is one of the clearest examples of a person chosen by God to make a profound change. Moses, born a Hebrew in Egypt, was called by God to lead the Israelites out of slavery. Despite his self-doubt and lack of confidence, Moses accepted his divine mission. God used Moses to free the Israelites and deliver them to the Promised Land, a monumental event in the history of the Jewish people. Moses' story is a reminder that God chooses those who are willing to serve, even when they feel inadequate. Another great example is Mahatma Gandhi, who was chosen to lead India in its quest for independence from British rule. Gandhi, armed with nothing but his deep faith and belief in nonviolent resistance, inspired millions of people to stand up for justice without resorting to violence. His leadership sparked a global movement for civil rights and nonviolent protest. Gandhi's life illustrates that one person's faith and commitment to a higher cause can spark a movement that changes the course of history. Martin Luther King Jr. is another example of someone who was chosen to bring about monumental change. King's leadership during the civil rights movement in the United States led to the dismantling of legalized racial segregation and the advancement of equal rights for African Americans. His courage, grounded in his Christian faith and belief in justice, led to one of the most significant social revolutions in American history. King's vision of equality and peaceful protest has continued to inspire movements for racial justice across the globe. Even Mother Teresa, known for her work with the poor and sick in Kolkata, India, became an instrument of God's love and compassion. Her decision to serve the poorest of the poor was rooted in her deep faith and belief that she was called by God to offer love and care to those society had abandoned. Through her work, Mother Teresa brought a message of selfless love, compassion, and service to the world. These are just a few examples, but they serve to remind us that God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Each of these figures was called to fulfill a mission that, at times, seemed impossible. But through their faith, courage, and willingness to serve, they changed the world. The concept of being chosen by God to create great change is not reserved for a select few. It is a calling that can be felt by everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances. God's choice isn't about perfection. It's about the willingness to serve, the faith to follow His direction, and the commitment to bringing about positive change in the world. Whether through small actions or transformative movements, each of us can become an instrument of change when we align ourselves with God's greater plan. As we've seen through the examples of people like Moses, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mother Teresa, it's not the size of the action that matters, but the heart behind it. When we are willing to listen to God's call, trust in His plan, and take action, we can create ripples of change that impact not just our lives, but the lives of countless others. The first step in creating significant change in the world begins with recognizing our divine mission. Each of us is called to fulfill a purpose much greater than our day-to-day tasks, and this purpose is rooted in something far more significant. However, before we can begin the journey to make this change, we need to recognize our calling. This is not always an immediate or easy process, but it is an essential part of fulfilling God's plan for us. Recognizing our mission in life often requires us to turn inward and engage in deep reflection. For many, this awareness comes through prayer, meditation, or self-reflection. These practices provide the space to listen to the still, quiet voice of God, guiding us toward the purpose He has prepared for us. When we spend time in prayer or meditation, we allow ourselves to become more attuned to the divine energies and guidance that are constantly surrounding us. Prayer, for example, serves as a means of communication with God, where we can openly express our desires, fears, and hopes. It is a way of seeking clarity and direction. During prayer, we might receive a feeling of peace or clarity about the path ahead, or we may be reminded of a calling or duty that has been planted in our hearts long ago. This recognition often doesn't come as a grand revelation, but rather as a gentle whisper or a subtle prompting that urges us to take action. Self-reflection is another powerful tool for recognizing our mission. When we take time to reflect on our lives, we begin to understand the patterns, the passions, and the experiences that have shaped us. Why are we passionate about certain causes? Why do certain people or issues stir something deep within us? These moments of reflection help us understand that we are not simply living for our own comfort or gain, but that we have been called to fulfill a greater purpose. For many, meditation serves as a way to quiet the noise of the world and focus on our inner truth. It is through this stillness that we can hear God's voice more clearly. Meditation helps to center our minds and hearts, making it easier to recognize God's will for our lives. When we are calm and centered, we can sense His guidance more easily, feeling the peace and clarity that accompanies following the divine path. Through prayer, meditation, and reflection, we discover that our lives are not just about us. We are part of a larger plan, a divine mission. This recognition helps us shift our focus from personal desires to a greater sense of purpose. When we realize that we are here for something much bigger than ourselves, we become more open to serving and fulfilling that purpose. Once we recognize our divine mission, the next step is to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually to face the challenges that lie ahead. The path to creating great change is never easy. In fact, it can often be riddled with obstacles, resistance, and doubt. Great change is born out of great challenges, and the road to fulfilling our mission can be both difficult and daunting. Therefore, mental and spiritual preparation are crucial. Mental preparation is the process of building the mindset that is required to face adversity. When we commit ourselves to a mission, we must acknowledge that there will be struggles along the way. There will be moments when the journey seems too difficult, when the obstacles seem insurmountable. During these times, we must remember that change does not come easily, and perseverance is key. The first step in mental preparation is to expect challenges. We must understand that resistance is part of the process. Whether it is external challenges, such as criticism from others, or obstacles in the world around us, or internal struggles, like fear, doubt, or insecurity, we must prepare ourselves to face these difficulties head-on. We need to embrace them, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and learning. At the same time, spiritual preparation is equally important. Spiritual preparation is about strengthening our faith and trusting God's guidance as we move forward. When we take on a divine mission, we are not walking alone. God is with us every step of the way, and our spiritual preparation is about building that deep trust in His wisdom and plan for our lives. Part of spiritual preparation involves surrendering our personal will to God and accepting that the journey may not unfold as we expect. We must be willing to let go of our own plans and desires and allow God to lead us. This can be a difficult process because we often want control over our lives and outcomes, but surrendering to God's will is a sign of trust and faith. When we prepare ourselves spiritually, we cultivate a sense of peace and certainty that will carry us through even the most challenging times. Another key element of spiritual preparation is developing resilience through prayer and deepening our relationship with God. The stronger our connection to the divine, the more able we are to withstand trials and tribulations. By regularly engaging in prayer, worship, and other spiritual practices, we draw closer to God and strengthen our inner resolve. This connection ensures that we are always grounded in faith, peace, and love, regardless of what life brings our way. Throughout history, religious and spiritual teachings have emphasized the importance of patience, trust in God's guidance, and the ability to overcome challenges as essential elements of fulfilling our divine mission. These teachings provide us with the tools we need to face the hardships and trials that come with carrying out God's will. Patience is one of the most significant virtues emphasized in religious texts. The Bible repeatedly encourages believers to be patient, even when things don't seem to be moving forward. In James 5-7, we are told, "Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it, until it receives the early and late rains." This patience is not just about waiting passively, but about trusting in God's timing. Divine change takes time, and we must be patient as God works through us and in the world. Trust in God's guidance is another core teaching. We are constantly reminded in Holy Scriptures to lean on God's understanding, especially when we face uncertainty or doubt. Proverbs 3-5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths." When we trust God, we are not relying on our own strength, but on His. This trust gives us the courage to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead is unclear. Overcoming challenges is also central to the faith journey. Many of the most celebrated stories in the Bible involve individuals who faced tremendous obstacles but overcame them through their faith in God. Whether it was David facing Goliath, Joseph enduring years of hardship in Egypt, or Jesus suffering on the cross, these stories teach us that the challenges we face are opportunities for growth. In Romans 5:3-4, we are reminded, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. The ability to overcome obstacles is essential in fulfilling our mission and becoming the person God has chosen us to be. Finally, God's protection and His presence in our lives are recurring themes in sacred teachings. God does not leave us to carry out our mission alone. He is always with us, guiding us, supporting us, and offering strength when we need it the most. We are never truly alone on this journey, and we must remember to lean on Him during times of hardship. Preparing for the great change that God has called us to requires mental, spiritual, and emotional readiness. The journey to fulfilling our divine mission is not without challenges, but with patience, faith, and trust in God, we can face any difficulty. By recognizing our mission, preparing ourselves through prayer and reflection, and relying on the teachings of faith, we can move forward with confidence, knowing that we are supported by a higher power. Through these preparations, we become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of carrying out the divine change God has set before us. One of the most powerful truths about creating significant change in the world is that great change does not always come from giant leaps or monumental actions. Often, the transformation that changes the world starts with small, seemingly insignificant actions that, over time, accumulate into something much bigger than we could have imagined. These small steps, whether in our daily lives or in our interactions with others, can become the foundation for lasting and meaningful change. Every action we take, from showing kindness to a stranger to making conscious decisions to better ourselves, becomes part of a greater mission. When we take the time to help someone in need, even if it's just holding the door open or offering a comforting word, we may not see the immediate impact. But over time, these actions ripple out, influencing others and creating a cycle of goodness and change that can transform communities and even nations. For example, imagine a teacher who takes the time to encourage a struggling student, offering support and guidance beyond the classroom lessons. That small act of kindness may seem insignificant at the time, but years later, that student might go on to inspire others, create a new social initiative, or contribute to a cause that changes the world. The teacher's small act of kindness, in the form of encouragement, becomes the seed of a larger change, and the ripple effect of that moment spreads out in ways that were never fully visible in the beginning. Similarly, small personal improvements, whether through cultivating patience, practicing gratitude, or learning new skills, can be the foundation for more significant change. Self-improvement is a key part of fulfilling our mission, because the more we work on ourselves, the better equipped we are to help others and be a positive influence in the world. Small actions lead to larger, more impactful shifts in the world around us. And these shifts often start quietly, without fanfare, but the impact they make is immeasurable. The important thing to remember is that no action is too small to matter. Every moment of kindness, every small effort to improve ourselves, is part of a much larger mission. And, as we start taking those small steps, we begin to feel the ripple effect of change in the world around us. Change that grows and spreads as more people are inspired to take similar actions. While small actions are powerful, there are times in our lives when fulfilling our divine mission requires us to step forward in boldness and leadership. The journey to creating great change sometimes demands that we stand up and take the lead, even when we don't feel ready. We may feel fear, uncertainty, or doubt about our ability to make a difference, but this is often where God calls us to step into our full potential. God doesn't always choose us because we're prepared or equipped. Sometimes, He chooses us because we have the courage to act even when we feel unprepared or inadequate. In these moments, it's not our abilities that matter most, but our willingness to take the first step, trusting that God will equip us along the way. God knows that, by stepping forward, we show faith not only in Him, but also in our own ability to grow and rise to the occasion. For instance, consider the example of Nehemiah, who was called by God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Nehemiah was a cupbearer to the king, a position that would not seem to have anything to do with rebuilding a city. Yet when he learned about the destruction of Jerusalem, he was deeply moved and felt the call to take action. Despite the challenges, the risks, and the overwhelming nature of the task, Nehemiah chose to step up and lead, even though he wasn't an architect or a military leader. His faith in God and his willingness to take action led to the successful rebuilding of the walls, which became a symbol of hope and resilience. Similarly, many historical figures who brought about great change like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mother Teresa had to dare to lead in the face of enormous challenges. They were not immune to fear, but they were willing to face those fears and trust in God's plan. Through their leadership, they inspired millions of others to join them in their mission of peace, justice, and service. These figures remind us that leading is not always about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to act, even when the path seems uncertain. In our own lives, leading doesn't always mean taking on a public role or doing something that will immediately change the world. Sometimes, it means taking responsibility in our families, communities, or workplaces, and being the one to make a positive change when no one else will. It might mean being the person who steps forward to resolve conflicts, lead initiatives, or take action when others are hesitant. Great change often starts with one person who dares to take action, even when it feels daunting. And this bravery and faith in God's plan can lead to transformation beyond what we could imagine. Great change doesn't always come from grand gestures or massive projects. Sometimes, inspiration itself becomes the most powerful catalyst for change. When we are living out our divine mission and taking meaningful actions, we begin to inspire those around us. By sharing our faith, our journey, and our actions with others, we can motivate them to take action in their own lives. This ripple effect of inspiration is exactly what God desires. That change extends beyond one person and grows, touching others who in turn touch even more lives. Consider the impact of someone like Mother Teresa, whose example of selfless service and compassion inspired millions around the world. She didn't start with a global movement, but her small acts of kindness and love inspired others to do the same. Her actions and words empowered people to step out of their comfort zones, challenge societal norms, and dedicate themselves to helping the most vulnerable. Over time, her simple acts of love sparked a global movement of service that continues today. Similarly, Martin Luther King Jr. inspired a generation to take action through his vision of equality and nonviolent protest. His words, such as the iconic, "I have a dream," were not just calls to action, they were calls to inspire. King led by example, showing that through peaceful protest and unwavering faith, significant change could be achieved. His words sparked hope and action, igniting the civil rights movement and inspiring millions of individuals to stand up for justice. What these examples teach us is that change is not only about doing it, is also about inspiring others to take action. When we live our mission with passion and integrity, we serve as a beacon for others to do the same. Our example has the power to ignite the hearts of those around us, motivating them to take their own steps toward change. This ripple effect is the ultimate goal of divine change. God does not just want one person to change the world. He wants each of us to play a role in bringing about change in the lives of others. When we live authentically, act with integrity, and follow our divine mission, we inspire others to do the same. This collective effort creates a much larger impact than we could ever have imagined on our own. In conclusion, Fulfilling our mission and bringing about great change starts with small actions that lead to larger transformations. By daring to lead, taking action even when the road ahead seems uncertain, we become instruments of change in God's greater plan. And, as we inspire others through our example, we create a ripple effect that spreads across communities, nations, and even the world. True change is not just about grand gestures, but about how we live out our faith and inspire those around us to take part in the mission. Remember, the impact of your actions doesn't stop with you. By living your mission, you inspire others to step into their divine roles, creating a world where positive change flows from one person to the next. God has chosen you, not just to create change, but to be a part of a larger movement that extends beyond yourself and touches the lives of others in ways you may never fully understand. So, start small, dare to lead, and let your example inspire the world around you. You are the one chosen by God to create great change. Every person is given a unique mission in life, and despite the challenges or difficulties that may arise, God's selection will always lead us to a higher calling. The important thing to remember is that great change often starts with small actions, even when the path seems unclear or difficult. As long as you trust in your mission and in God's guidance, He will lead you to success. You are equipped for this journey, and each step you take, no matter how small, will help you fulfill the purpose God has set for you. You don't need to be perfect to fulfill your mission, just willing to take that first step and trust that God will guide you along the way. Each moment, each decision, and each action is a part of His greater plan for you. So, embrace your calling and know that God will empower you to create the change you were chosen to bring into the world. Believe in the power of your selection and your personal mission. You are not walking this path alone. You are part of a greater plan that God has set before you. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, and that you are capable of fulfilling the unique mission God has given you. There will be challenges, but remember, God is with you every step of the way. Do not hesitate, take action now and begin to create the change you wish to see in the world. The world needs your unique gifts, your heart, and your courage. God has already prepared the way for you, and He is leading you to success. You have the strength to make a difference, and it starts with believing that you are chosen for this great purpose. If you found this message helpful, share this video with your friends and family so they can realize their own great mission in life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos on personal growth and fulfilling the divine mission in our lives. Thank you for joining us today. Go forward with faith, knowing that you are chosen and you are never alone.